Welcome back to my channel, baddies. I'm super duper excited to show you guys how I made this beauty. And yes, we are using heat transfer vinyl for our decal. If you want to learn how to, keep watching. Thanks for the support. I love you guys so much, I could cry. All right, let's put our sausage ratchet fingers to work and let's get started on this tumbler. We're gonna start by cutting the fabric. I want to cut a straight line on one end. Why? Because I don't know, I want a straight line on the tumbler. I want it to be straight. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Okay, so those of you who are loyal and you've been following me for a while and watching my videos, you already know that I got the cutting mat at Joann fabric store. I know there's no S, but I like to call it Joann's. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to apply fabric to half of the tumbler. Now, you guys already know I don't measure, I eyeball everything, but if you are watching this tutorial and you want to make it with exact measurements, you can just use measuring tape. Excuse me. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and cut the fabric once I know exactly what the halfway point is going to be. Now, this is a tapered tumbler. So one side of the fabric is going to be straight and the other is going to be a little crooked, but that's okay because I'm going to show you guys exactly how we're going to fix that once we have the fabric applied to the tumbler. Now, we're going to use Mod Podge. I like to put it in this little bottle and use my little paintbrush that I like to get at Joann's or Michael's or Walmart. They're very affordable, but they're my favorite to use. Then we're going to apply the fabric as straight as we possibly can. Look at how bright those limes and lemons are. Yes, I'm obsessed with it, honey. I know it's not summer yet, but it's summer in my heart, if that makes any sense. Okay, guys, so we're just going to apply the fabric to our tumbler little by little, okay, making sure that we have it very adhered, that there's no bubbles, there's no lumps, no bumps. You thought I was going to sing the Lovely Lady Hump song, huh? Joke's on you. I'm not going to sing it. Okay, so we want to make sure that we have the fabric on there nice and good, okay? So I am going to apply vinyl strips eventually, not right now, but eventually. So I want to make sure for the most part that the fabric is straight so that when I go in and apply my vinyl strips, I don't have any problems. So that is where, remember I told you a minute ago that it wasn't going to be straight on one side? I already knew that because the cup is tapered, which means it gets skinnier at the bottom. So we're just going to take our ruler and a pencil and we're going to make a little line just to make sure we have that straight line. Now, carefully, guys, carefully, take your X-Acto knife and just cut where you drew that pencil line, just so that we can have a straight line. Remember, we want both sides to be perfectly straight because we are going to be applying vinyl strips. So you don't want to have to like angle your vinyl strip and make it look all crooked, okay? Because that's too ratchet. I know I'm ratchet, but that's way too ratchet, okay? Okay, perfect. So now I'm just going to take my handy dandy ruler that I got at the Dollar Tree. Don't judge me. And then I am going to make sure that it's nice and straight for the most part. And then we're going to move on to the next part, which is going to be to make sure that we adhere our fabric at the rim. At the rim, okay, you guys? So if you are loyal, and you watch all my videos, then you're probably tired of hearing me say this part. But basically, I'm going to take my scissors and cut the fabric, make sure that it's right up on the rim, and then I'm going to take my paintbrush with Mod Podge and stick it in the little spaces in between the fabric and the tumbler, just to get any glue in there and make sure that it's completely adhered. Guys, I know I always say this in every tutorial, but I'm going to say it again because maybe you're new here and maybe you've never watched me before. This is an extremely important step because you want your tumbler to be very sealed, okay? You don't want any epoxy to get in there when you go in and apply your first coat. So sealing the rim is the most important part, okay? Once you've got that taken care of, you're going to move down to the bottom. And I always like to cut the fabric so that it's not very long. And then I make little slits all around the bottom of the tumbler. Now, this is going to help me so that when I fold it over and glue it to the bottom of the tumbler, it's just going to be easier and it's going to have a smoother bottom, okay? Smoother bottom. Okay, you're going to, it's very self-explanatory, guys. And if you are loyal and watch all my videos, I'm so sorry that you have to continuously see this same step, but you know, somebody might be watching this video that doesn't know who I am, and I just want to help them. So basically, guys, we're just going to go ahead and pull all those down, make sure they're glued down, make sure that the edges are super round, that we don't have any pointy corners, because they're hard to cover with glue. Not glue. I'm sorry. They're hard to cover with epoxy if there's pointy corners. So once we've got that taken care of and our rim is sealed, we are going to seal the fabric. Okay, you guys? Now, I like to do 3 coats of Mod Podge over the fabric. It is very important, and I've had a few people not, you know, follow directions on this step, and then they message me and they're like, my glue didn't dry clear. Guys, it is extremely important that you do very thin coats of Mod Podge. That is key. That is what's going to help your glue dry completely clear. If you do very thick coats, if you're like, you know what, I don't feel like doing 3 coats because I'm a rebel, so I'm going to do really thick coats so that I only have to do 1 or 2, that is going to backfire because then it's not going to dry clear. Okay? So make sure your coats of Mod Podge are extremely thin and there's no streaks or anything like that. Just make it as smooth as possible, as even as possible. And I usually allow each coat to dry for 5 minutes before I go in with the next coat, okay? Total, I did 3 coats. I am going to let this dry overnight. I know that it might look dry in a few hours, but the fabric is probably still going to be wet, so let it dry overnight. And then this is what it should look like, okay? The Mod Podge should dry completely clear. We're going to take some painter's tape and we are going to tape off and protect that fabric a little bit because we're going to apply glitter to the other side. And even though the fabric is sealed, sometimes when I get glitter on it, it's really hard to wipe it off. So I just want to try to protect the fabric as much as I possibly can. I'm sure it'll still get some specks of glitter because glitter ends up everywhere. Literally, it's going to be on your freaking soul. You're going to be at the gates of heaven and God's going to be like, hey, what's on your eyebrow? Glitter. Glitter. I can't get it off. Anyway, moving right along. Well, that's assuming that you're going to heaven. Are you going to heaven? Have you been good? Have you? Let me know. Anyway, guys, okay. So I added a little bit of yellow acrylic paint to my glue, just so that I only have to do 1 coat of glitter. I get a little bit of better coverage when there's a little bit of color in the Mod Podge. So obviously if you do that and you feel like you don't have good coverage, you still need to go back and do a 2nd coat, but I didn't. Nanny nanny poo poo. Okay guys, so my little tip for when you're going to try to ombre is make sure you tilt your tumbler down, okay? And see how I'm sprinkling the glitter and I sprinkle it at the top and just kind of let it fall down in a little waterfall way. That's kind of what you want to do. That's the key to getting like a perfect ombre. I'm not saying my ombres are perfect, but you know, they're a lot better than they used to be. So I feel like I'm giving you some good tips here, okay? So you kind of just want to let it cascade. Ooh, look at me using the word cascade. I'm so bougie. Okay, guys. So you kind of just want to let it cascade. And once you get close to the very center, I kind of just go back and forth multiple times with my yellow and my green. And let it cascade, cascade, cascade. Let it cascade down just, you know, so that I could get that perfect blend in the middle. And then you're going to be like, where does the green begin? Where does the yellow begin? I don't know because they're perfectly blended. So I can't tell the difference. Oh, stop me when I lie. Anyway, you guys, you just want to do this step back and forth until you feel like you've got a perfectly blended middle. Okay, look at that. Look at that. Okay. Ooh, I forgot to tell you guys, I forgot to record my first coat of epoxy, but obviously I did 1 coat of epoxy. Look how glossy and shiny and beautiful it is. I'm trying to keep up with how fast the video is moving. Okay, guys, so I'm going to sand it because my tumbler turner was a little bit uneven, so I had a fupa at the very top. You know what I'm saying? So I sanded my tumbler, and then I cleaned it off with my alcohol, my rubbing alcohol, just to remove any residue. I also had pizza rolls while I was recording, so I just wanted to make sure there was no pizza grease on my tumbler. Oh, guess what, guys? We're going to use HTV, heat transfer vinyl, for this tumbler because it's beautiful. So you want to go ahead and place it and then start by heating up 1 little piece of it, just so that you can get it to adhere, right? Because we don't want to stick the whole thing until we know we have a straight line. And then once you have it nice and secure, go ahead and apply heat to the rest of it. Now take a towel and push it down so that you don't burn your sausage fingers, okay? And then go ahead and bend it down at the bottom. Now you're gonna notice I pointed the heat gun away from my finger, so I did not burn myself. So apply heat, apply pressure, and then go ahead and remove the transfer tape, and voila. Voila. How stinking beautiful is this, you guys? Like, I love that I can use heat transfer vinyl on tumblers. I will never get tired of saying that. Okay, so I did my strips on both sides. Now I'm gonna apply the first part of my decal. As you can see, I'm placing it in the center and then I'm securing it little by little, okay? I'm doing little pieces at a time. Now, I did do a shadow, as you know. Cricut decided to stop playing games and being a silly little goose, so they did add the offset option to Design Space. So I actually was able to do the shadowing in Cricut Design Space. So I am going to do the quote that goes on top of this in white vinyl. Now, what I'm doing here is kind of just reinforcing the decal just to make sure it's really on there. And then I'm going to come in with my handy dandy squeegee and we're going to apply our quote. Now, I know I'm basic, so of course I'm doing a tequila quote because hello, limes and lemons. I know some of you think that I was going to do a lemonade quote, but you're wrong. It's a hot girl summer. Okay, so just make sure that you line up your quote exactly where it's supposed to go, okay? And then push it down when you're ready. And it's still a little warm, but I wanted to apply it while it was warm so that the white quote would adhere even more. Okay, guys, so once we have that on there, look how nice. Oh, this is so beautiful. Okay, guys, so once we have that on there and everything is nice and secure, oh my gosh, this is so pretty. I can't stop looking at it. We are going to do the bottom part of the tumbler. Now, if you are loyal, you know that I like to do acrylic paint on the bottom of my tumblers. So I am going to do 2 coats. Okay, I'm going to do 2 coats of white acrylic paint on the bottom, and then when it's completely dry, we're going to seal it with epoxy, and then I will be right back to show you guys the finished product. Oh my gosh, this went by really, really fast. I love you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, my loves. Until next time, aka Saturday.